I never cease to be amazed by the things we debate in the European Parliament. The most extraordinary thing today was we were debating the role of women in the green economy. So we were picking up two quite unrelated obsessions of parliamentarians and linking them together in this artificial way. I wanted to know why we weren't having a debate about the role of men in the blue economy, but there you are, I wasn't able to get that one through. The big event today and the vote today was on the Energy Efficiency Directive. Now, of course, nobody in his right mind has a problem with energy efficiency. Obviously, we all want to save money, we all want to reduce the imports of fossil fuels, we all want to improve the balance of payments. We may have some reservations about people in Brussels telling us how to do it, but the broad thrust of let's be energy efficient, let's insulate buildings, this is a good thing to do. And indeed, if you want to reduce CO2 emissions, and of course, as you know, I'm not very keen on reducing CO2 emissions as an objective. I don't think CO2 emissions are related to climate change, but if you want to reduce CO2 emissions, it is a much more economical way of doing it to insulate buildings than it is to build wind farms, which scarcely save any emissions at all. So in principle, yes, let's save energy, let's insulate buildings, let's conserve energy. But my concern is not so much with that, which is like motherhood and apple pie. My concern is with the overall thrust of European energy policy, because what Europe is trying to do, Europe is trying to create a large amount of generating capacity in renewables, by which they mean largely wind and maybe a bit of solar and tidal and so on. The point about renewable energy, and especially wind, the extraordinary thing is, one, it's vastly expensive, and it means that our energy bills are hopelessly uncompetitive, so that energy-intensive industries are already looking to move out of Europe altogether to places like America, where they now have cheap shale gas, places like Asia, where they have coal-fired power stations that produce cheap, reliable energy. And we are creating an environment in which it is almost impossible to be competitive. But there's one other thing that really is critically important about wind farms. There are several recent studies that show that when you take wind farms together with the conventional backup that you have to have, because the wind is intermittent, so you have to have the conventional backup for when the wind stops. And when you look at the whole system of the wind plus the conventional backup run intermittently and inefficiently, the actual emissions from the whole system are very much the same as you would have had if you had simply built proper, modern, combined cycle gas-fired power stations and run them properly. So we are doing all this, we are damaging the economy, we're undermining competitiveness, we're driving businesses abroad, and we're not even achieving what we set out to achieve, which was a significant reduction in CO2 emissions. It is simply madness writ large. It would be sensible to abandon renewable energy anyway, because it is simply serving no economic or environmental purpose. But you're absolutely right that in times of economic hardship, we can ill afford these additional costs. You know, sometimes when things are going well and when there's plenty of money in the kitty, you can afford to do some sort of pretty peripheral things, and if you lose a bit of money on it, well, nobody really minds. But in hard times, you have to be careful about how you spend your money. And to spend money in very, very large amounts on projects that are fundamentally self-defeating and wasteful is really heartbreaking. We are damaging the prospects of European economies, and it may take many years to recover.